Okay, we did. All right. Okay, so let's go back, and we have a question here on the merge. Are there any disadvantages to using the merge command in MySQL? Um, Trying to think. Well, it's always a good idea to back up your table before you do that. Would be probably one of the main things, in case you have any issues. I mean, it basically uses some extra disk space because you're creating essentially a temporary merged table. Um, and I mean, I would, I think the main thing to do, um, I haven't really used that engine very much. I'm not aware of any real problems on the merge. Um, it's good for very large tables. There's probably performance hits, I would think, on it. It's basically like a partition table. So and there's always issues because you're basically got additional I/O, and there's performance issues with merge for sure. Um, they're more difficult to maintain. I would probably avoid them, but if you have a really large table, they're useful. Um, but other, I mean, it's essentially also like a union, a built-in union with a merge, and it's the main thing is performance issues. I wouldn't use it unless you need to use it, basically, because with a very large table, you can have performance issues anyway. But if you're in that situation, then yeah, go ahead, go ahead and use it. But if you're in that situation with a MySQL database, you're probably going to be wanting, well, maybe not, but I mean, in the past, we would say if you're in that situation with a MySQL database, you probably should be using Oracle. Um, but that's kind of changing as MySQL is becoming more and more um, industrial strength, and Oracle seems to be doing that. They're promoting MySQL now as even an alternative to Microsoft SQL Server, which is not a bad way. Oracle's very expensive. They probably don't want to drop the price of their regular Oracle database down to compete with MS SQL, but they might be willing to beef up MySQL at a lower price. Um, yeah, but I mean, the main thing is, your advantages and disadvantages. Um, there's maintenance issues. Um, there's going to be performance. There's probably going to be some performance issues. But there are benefits too. If your computer that they're running on, for example, has multiple CPUs and you've got the different tables and different disk drives, that actually could help improve performance because you're able to do multiple I/O at the same time. And it does give you some ability to, make multiple tables look like one table, which is a benefit as well. I'm trying to think what else would work with that. And it really depends. The main thing is it's going to be a maintenance issue, though. Um, there's going to be more disk space, but it'll probably be across multiple drives. So there's advantages and disadvantages to it. Okay. Those are the only two questions in there. Did anyone have any other questions besides those two? So you want to know if Excel is capable of handling the type of coding we're doing here. Excel supports a scripting language called Visual Basic for applications. It's pretty powerful. So you probably could, although Excel's not a database. But Excel is useful for slicing and dicing and analyzing and creating charts. There's also something in Excel called pivot tables, so it's very good for doing a second layer of analysis and also presentation of the data after the initial data analysis has been done at the database layer. So Excel is quite commonly used along with a database to do data analysis. Other questions? Okay, doesn't look like we've got any more questions. If not, I'll be on Yahoo Messenger for any questions. Otherwise, we're pretty much done. Now, next week is spring recess, spring break. So there'll be no class. And I'll be available if you have questions, of course, but no actual class. And then when we come back from spring break, we're going to start looking at some client-server stuff with Java, Java web apps, and we'll probably look at a little PHP as well. So start looking at the client-server end of things. Okay, any last questions before we break? You're saying, well, it shouldn't be head of state in the weird. No. Well, the reason you're getting an empty set is because you're putting the percent before Bush. It should go after Bush. So try switching the percent sign to the end. Oh, yeah. Okay, if that's in there like that, it should be. That should be the result. And it's giving you no data? Hold on for a second. I don't know if there's